They say the truth will set you free, but they never tell you that the truth usually burns your house down first. My name is Ethan. I'm an architect. I build structures that are meant to last centuries. I thought my marriage was one of them. Sarah and I, we were the it couple in our Chicago suburb. 12 years. No kids, just a golden retriever and a 401k we'd been building since her 20s. But on a random Tuesday morning, while Sarah was in the shower, her iPad buzzed on the nightstand. I wasn't a snooper. I never had a reason to be. But the notification that popped up didn't have a name. It just said, "I'm still thinking about what we did in the parking lot last night." My heart didn't just skip a beat. It felt like it physically cracked. I picked up the device. It wasn't locked. Sarah was always careless with technology. I opened the messages, and that's when I saw the folder. It was hidden behind a calculator app. Inside wasn't just one conversation. It was a spreadsheet, a literal, documented list titled The Journey. I started scrolling. Name after name. Date after date. Locations. Details. I felt the room spinning. I thought maybe it was a joke, a fantasy. But then I saw the photos. Photos taken in our guest bedroom. Photos taken in the SUV I bought her for our anniversary. I reached the bottom of the list. The number at the end was 36. 36 different men in 12 years. That's an average of one new man every 4 months. While I was taking her to Napa for our anniversary, she was texting number 14. While I was at my mother's funeral, she was meeting number 29. The water stopped in the bathroom. The shower curtain slid back. In 60 seconds, the woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew better than my own soul, was going to walk out that door. And I had to decide, do I scream or do I die inside? Sarah walked out, wrapping a towel around her hair, humming a song. She looked at me. She saw the iPad in my hand. The hum stopped. The color drained from her face so fast, I thought she'd faint. "Ethan," she whispered. I didn't look up. I just stared at the screen. "Is number 36 a good guy, Sarah? Because he seems really excited about what you guys did in the parking lot of the grocery store where I buy our milk." The confrontation wasn't like the movies. There was no throwing plates. There was just this heavy, suffocating silence. She sat on the edge of the bed we'd shared for over 4,000 nights, and she started talking. That was the worst part. She didn't deny it. She didn't even look ashamed. She looked relieved. "It was never about them, Ethan," she said. "It was about me. I felt invisible." Invisible? I spent my life making sure she was seen. I worked 60-hour weeks so she could pursue her painting. I listened to her every complaint. But to her, I wasn't a husband. I was a safety net. I was the boring, stable ground she came home to after she was done playing in the mud. I asked her about number 8. He was a guy I knew, a guy from our country club. How could you look me in the eye while we had dinner with him and his wife? She shrugged, a tiny, cold shrug. It was a rush, knowing something you didn't. That's when I realized I wasn't just dealing with a cheater. I was dealing with a sociopath. Every "I love you" for the last decade was a calculated move to keep the game going. I left the house that night. I didn't take a suitcase. I just took my keys and the iPad. I drove until the suburbs turned into cornfields. I checked into a Motel 6, the kind of place she'd never stepped foot in. I sat on the edge of a stained mattress and opened the list again. I wanted to hurt myself with the information. I wanted to see the names. I wanted to know what these men had that I didn't. But as I looked at the photos of these men, some older, some younger, some successful, some losers, I saw the pattern. There was no type. They were just warm bodies. I was the only one who had given her my heart, and, ironically, I was the only one she didn't value. My phone started blowing up. It wasn't Sarah. It was her brother. "Ethan, man," Sarah just called me crying. She says you're having some kind of mental breakdown and took her work iPad. Are you okay? The gaslighting had begun. She wasn't going to let me be the victim. In her story, I was the one losing my mind. In America, divorce isn't a tragedy. It's an industry. I hired a guy named Miller. He was a shark in a 3-piece suit who specialized in high-conflict separations. I walked into his office in downtown Chicago and laid the iPad on his desk. "I have 36 names," I told him. Miller didn't even blink. He'd seen it all. "Names are good, Ethan, but in a no-fault state. Infidelity is just flavor text. We need to talk about the house, the savings, and the fact that she's been using your joint credit card to pay for hotel rooms for number 22 through 36. That hit me harder than the cheating. She was using the money I earned, the money I saved for our future, to fund her betrayals. Every steak dinner she had with a stranger, I paid for. Every bottle of wine she shared in a secret bedroom, I bought. The next 3 months were a blur of depositions and legal threats. Sarah changed. This sleepy, beautiful wife was gone. She became a cold, calculating litigator. She claimed I was emotionally distant. She claimed I had abandoned the marriage long ago. Then came the social fallout. In our circle, she was the sweet one. She started telling people I was controlling, that I had a tracking device on her car. I didn't, but I should have. I lost friends. People I'd known for a decade stopped calling. They didn't want to take sides, which in the U.S. usually means they side with the one who cries the loudest. I felt like a ghost walking through my own life. I'd go to the gym, and I'd see a guy who looked like number 15. I'd go to work, and I'd wonder if my boss was number 3. The breaking point came when I had to go back to the house to pick up my remaining things. She was there, and she wasn't alone. There was a car in the driveway, a black BMW I didn't recognize. I walked in, and there he was, number 37. Or maybe he was just a friend. He was sitting in my kitchen island, drinking from my favorite mug. "Who are you?" I asked. He looked at Sarah, then at me, and smirked. "I'm the guy who's actually here, man." I didn't hit him. I wanted to. My God, I wanted to level him. But I looked at Sarah. She was watching me, waiting for a reaction. She wanted the drama. She wanted me to be the crazy ex-husband she described to her lawyer. I just turned around, walked to the garage, took my toolbox, and left. I didn't even look back. That was the first time in 12 years I felt like a man again. It's been 18 months since the decree was signed. The house is gone. The dog passed away last winter. Half of my 401k belongs to a woman who spent her weekends in hotels with strangers. On paper, I lost. But sitting here today, looking out at the mountains of Montana, where I moved to start over, I've never felt more like a winner. You see, when a woman cheats with 36 men, it's not a reflection of your worth as a husband. It's a reflection of her emptiness as a person. I spent years trying to fill a bucket that had no bottom. I stopped asking why and started asking what's next. I started hitting the gym. Not for her, but for me. I started hiking. I started building furniture. Real things you can touch, things that don't lie to you. To the men out there listening to this, the guys in the U.S. suburbs who think their life is perfect because the lawn is mowed and the wife is smiling, I have a message for you. Trust is a gift, but blind trust is a suicide note. Don't be a nice guy. Being a good man is about strength, boundaries, and respect. If you don't respect yourself enough to demand loyalty, no one else will. I saw Sarah a few weeks ago. She called me from a blocked number. She sounded tired. She said the guys didn't stick around once there was no husband to hide from. The rush was gone. She asked if we could grab a drink and talk. I told her I didn't have time. I told her I was busy building something new. And for the first time in my life, I didn't care if she was crying when I hung up. I am Ethan. I am 42 years old. I was betrayed 36 times, but I only had to find myself once. If you're going through hell, keep walking. The view from the other side is better than you can imagine. Are you tired of being the last one to know? Asterisk men, we've been taught to provide, protect, and stay silent. But silence is where betrayal grows. If my story sounds like yours, if you felt that cold knot in your stomach, it's time to stop being a spectator in your own life. Click the link below to join the Frontline Men's Brotherhood. We provide the resources, the legal advice, and the emotional grit you need to navigate betrayal and reclaim your throne. Don't let her list define your future. Join the Brotherhood. Reclaim your life now.